I, female, 27, am low contact with my stepsister, Mickayla, female, 26, because of what she did at my wedding. So I got married last spring to the love of my life, Adrian, male, 30, after dating for 2 years. And we had the perfect wedding set up. However, Mick, short for Mickayla, derailed everything by showing up drunk in a white dress with her kid, Destiny, female too, in tow. Destiny's baby daddy has been God knows where for the last year, and my sister decided that since nobody could take care of the kid, she would bring her to my wedding. I had explicitly mentioned to everyone that it would be a child-free wedding, and everyone except Mickayla complied. Because of that, she became the center of attention and ruined the whole day for me. Hell, her kid even toppled our wedding cake because my sister doesn't believe in discipline through punishment. Needless to say, after my wedding, my sister and I haven't been on talking terms. It's put my parents in an awkward spot, though. Although they're totally on my side in terms of agreeing what Mick did was wrong, they're also trying really hard to appease my sister and make sure all bridges between us aren't burnt. I mean, my mom more than my stepdad, and that's something that's been the case ever since I was a teenager. My mom has, ever since she got remarried, favored Mickayla over me. To be honest, it's been annoying but livable, and she basically overdid it to help Mickayla feel comfortable accepting her as a parent. Obviously, with my mom remarrying when I was 15, things weren't ever going to start smoothly with my stepdad and his daughter. But during my teens, I was always super annoyed at the fact that Mickayla used her younger sister card to get her way, but never stood up for me the way a sister should. I tried to be nice to her and give her second chances, but it never worked out. She would always do something to antagonize me as soon as I forgave her. My stepdad's a smart guy, but he has a massive blind spot when it comes to spotting his wife's obvious favoritism. She never punished Mickayla for doing things that were wrong and instead put the burden on me to be a bigger person for the good of the family. I mean, it was all pretty minor during my teens and I moved out for college pretty early, so it never boiled over, but I was always cautious of my stepsister due to her bossy, entitled, and mean attitude. The wedding, of course, was the boil over, and that's when I gave up on even having the pretense of a familial bond with her. As I said, my parents both agreed with me in principle, but wanted me to make things right. My stepdad, thankfully, wasn't as pushy about it, but my mom was acting like it would be the end of the world if her bio daughter and her stepdaughter didn't get along. The thing is, despite her obvious favoritism, my mom and I had a pretty decent rapport with each other as long as Mickayla was not a part of the conversation. That's pretty much the only reason I even bothered to listen to her when it came to forgiving Mickayla after the wedding. I mean, after all, a year had passed since the incident. The thing is, it was tough to create a proper dialogue with Mick because, well, she doesn't want to talk to me either. I have no idea what kind of maniacal logic she applied to make me out to be the bad guy, but she thinks that I wasn't supportive of her and her choices by blowing up at the wedding. She used to tell everyone that I was against single moms because my wedding was child-free, and conveniently omitted all the other facts. So, how it used to work was that my mom would say something to me about her daughter. I'd say something to her, and she would pass it on to Mickayla whenever she got the chance. It's a little childish, I know, but it was the only way she was willing to talk after the wedding because of how rude I had been. I still wanted to leave the door open for forgiveness and the change of heart for Mickayla. At least that was until the shit I heard from my stepsister at our first time meeting after a year. So, for some context, my mom had maneuvered me and Mickayla into both coming out with her on a girls' day at the spa, without telling me that my stepsister would be there. On the other hand, Mick knew that I would be there and even had a full-on speech prepared to talk to me. I kid you not. She opened up her notes app on her phone and started reading off of it, IMAO. She started by saying, "Oh, P, I know you and I have always had our differences in the past. I recognize now that I used to be a bit of a bully when we were living under our parents' roof together. For that, I am sorry. I know it's not related to why we're not talking right now, but I do apologize for that. That was a surprisingly good start, and I accepted her apology. I also freely admitted I was having trouble adjusting to my mom having a new husband and a new daughter, so I probably wasn't too easy to live with. I won't lie, that was the most human interaction I had with my stepsis. But then it all went downhill from there. Mickayla then tells me, "What happened at your wedding, I don't believe was my fault. I just wanted to be there to support you, and you decided to take that away from me and viewed it as an attack. I and Destiny weren't there to grab attention, and it's not my fault your guests started gravitating towards me. You've made me feel terrible for the whole year because of something I had no control over. But I forgive you for it." Before I could even get a word in edgeways, the next thing comes in. "I think for us to heal, you need to get to know my life a little better. I want you to move in with me for a little bit and co-parent Destiny. I've gotten the opportunity to star in an acting role and I need someone to help me out. OP, if you can do that for me, we can consider ourselves even." I mean, like, girl, what? First of all, I still don't get how she thinks I'm in the wrong. I wanted one day to myself, and this stupid bitch shows up wearing white with a screaming, untrained child in tow. Oh, by the way, we'd even offered to pay for a babysitter at that point, and she refused, saying she doesn't want a stranger with her baby. That's when the whole interaction went downhill. I casually turned to my mom and asked how she thought I would move, give up work, and leave my husband behind just to take care of her baby. And she replied with some BS like, "If you love your sis, you'll make it work." I told her that this was insane and that Mick needed to learn to plan her life better. My mom, instead of seeing my point of view, constantly kept trying to make excuses and justifications that would make me basically raise Destiny and leave my own life behind. I ended up storming out of the spa and went straight home. Adrian is furious and thinks this warrants cutting them both out of my life, and I do agree. WIBTA if I stop talking to my mom over this? Update 1. So, I've realized that my stepdad has been kept pretty out of the loop by mom and his daughter because he called me yesterday to try and figure out what went wrong at the spa yesterday. He'd been given cherry-picked pieces of information that made me out to be the bad guy. OP stormed out. OP hates Destiny and stuff like that. And when he heard the full story from me, he definitely agreed that Mom had overstepped her boundaries. I had never bad-mouthed Mick to her dad before this, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. He told me that he'll try and have a conversation with them to help them understand where they went wrong, and he'd like me to be there as well. I agreed, and we've set up an intervention of sorts to help Mick see her part in the issue here. Update 2. So the intervention, if you can call it that, went decent. I think hearing it from her own dad really drove it home for Mickayla, and she realized how big of an ask it was to come to raise Destiny. Besides, she never put in the effort to get to know my life or Adrian, and it was ridiculously entitled to get free childcare spun in the garb of making up. I was pretty honest about my feelings during this confrontation, but with my stepdad to mediate things, it didn't get out of hand like last time. My mom in all this also finally grew a backbone and told us that Mick had basically been pressuring her nonstop to fix things between us, and also demanded that she and my stepdad help babysit Destiny, which snowballed into co-parenting, whatever that means. My mom acted really selfishly because she was the one who asked Mickayla to then ask me to co-parent Destiny. After all, she wasn't sure whether she would be able to take care of such a young kid at her age. Mom and Mickayla did apologize, and my stepsis is going to look at daycare options or something a little more reasonable for Destiny. In the meanwhile, I am still not comfortable speaking to my stepsis, and honestly, my mom is also on thin ice. My husband is so pissed with my family that he hasn't even spoken to them ever since this whole incident happened. My stepdad is on good terms with me, though, and he feels terrible for letting me go through all of this alone. He promised to step up and make sure that I wouldn't become a victim of entitled behavior like this again. I think he's also had a bit of a rift with my mom because of the past few days, but they're slowly working on fixing things. I feel a little bad for Mick, I won't lie. At the intervention, she opened up about her lie, and it's clear she's in a mess right now, but also needs to know that she can't expect people to just up and help her. I also haven't gotten a proper apology from her about the wedding, even though both my parents explicitly told her that it wasn't right for her to act the way she did. Update 3. It's been months since the intervention, and there have been some positive changes. First of all, I actually got a call from Mickayla updating me about her life and apologizing for ruining my wedding. She still has a few rough edges and can be a little bossy, but there's been a total shift in her personality, for the better. My parents are also resolving the communication gap that led to this issue, and it was quite deep-rooted, to be honest. Mom was always insecure about losing my stepdad, and she thought the best way to keep him in the family was through preferential treatment for his daughter, which explains the shit I went through as a teen. But he's an amazing man and never asked for this to begin with. He loves my mom without any strings attached. The whole incident was a mess, but at the end of it, it seems like our family came out of it stronger than ever. NTA, accept your mom for enabling Mickayla's behavior. It's clear that she needs a reality check and she's getting the exact opposite. NTA, but your stepsis is living in a different world for sure. She must know that she screwed up at the wedding and should be helping you out in life if she wants to form a bond with you again, not vice versa. Next story. I, 24, female. I'm getting married next summer to my fiance, Jay. My mom died when I was 7. Dad married Kay 4 years later. Kay has a daughter, E, 22, from a previous relationship. Kay and E are easily the most entitled, spoiled, and rude people I've ever met. They never treated me like family. Kay has done everything possible to push me away from the family. I haven't been in any family pictures since I was 14. I was never allowed on any family vacation activities. Per Kay's request, my dad banned any family members from giving me any gifts for my birthday, holidays. She always hated me. I can't even remember all the times I cried because of the things she would say to me. E was the favorite child. Whatever she wanted, they would get it for her. Me, I had to work if I wanted something. School supplies, work for them. My clothes don't fit me anymore, work for new clothes. E liked to break my stuff and I would be grounded because I got mad at her. My last straw was when she cut all pictures I had of Mom. Dad found me crying, and when I showed him the pictures, he told me to let it go. I packed a bag and went to stay with my grandparents. I was 17. Dad never came for me. Never called or texted me either. He reached out to me when I was 20, apologized and said he wanted to reconnect. I told him if he wants that, he will have to work very hard to earn a relationship with me since he hasn't been my dad since I was 12. And in 3 years, I haven't heard from him at all. He said he'll do anything to be my dad again. Since then, I've been low contact with him because I don't feel like he's putting enough work into our relationship. I finished college last year and he attended the ceremony, and after that, we spent the entire weekend together bonding. It was the first time I felt like I had a dad in almost 13 years. I wanted my dad to attend the wedding as guest, but I don't want Kay or E there. I talked to my dad about it and he was okay with attending as a guest. My grandpa will be walking me down the aisle. But he was really mad when I said I will not invite Kay and E. His reasoning is that they are his family, so that makes them mine too, and he doesn't want them to be excluded. He then said he will not attend if they aren't invited, so I said, okay, I guess then you won't attend my wedding and our relationship is over since you're choosing them over me. It is my wedding and I don't want those disgusting people there. Please don't contact me again. Go be with your perfect little family and forget I exist. You have to practice on that. Goodbye." Then I blocked his number. Some family members reached out to me and told me I should be a bigger person and that maybe the wedding could be what's going to fix our relationship. My grandparents said that it's my big day and I shouldn't have people that make me uncomfortable there. Jay and his parents agree that I shouldn't invite people that hurt me just because they are legally considered family. So, AITA? Update. The situation has blown out of proportion. Kay's family has been blowing up my phone, sending me death, rape threats, and what's worse is that they have sent the same threats to my grandparents. I had a panic attack so bad when my grandma called me and said that currently I'm in hospital. Jay's mom is with me, and Jay and his dad went to my hometown to bring my grandparents here because I'm honestly scared something may happen to them. I don't know what to do. This has turned into a nightmare, and before you suggest a restraining order, in my country, they won't give you one unless they actually hurt you. Jay's aunt has offered to have us move in with her across the country, and as much as we love our life here, we will accept her offer. Edit. A lot of people keep asking why K and E want to come to my wedding when they clearly hate me. I don't think they want to come. I think it's the fact that I don't want them there that makes them want to come. They're not used to being told no. Edit. I've had some comments saying I should expose their threats on social media, and I think I'll do that. Plus, tag all of them. I can update after I do that if you all want me to. Thank you for all the comments and messages. Update. I posted all the text alongside the backstory on Facebook and Instagram, and I tagged them all. Safe to say they aren't happy. K and E are now cut off by all her family because apparently they didn't know about how they treated me. K and E have been lying to K's family for years, pretending to be a good stepmother, sister, and painting me as the bitch that never accepted me and made their lives hell. In addition, my dad is offering me money to delete the post because his friends and boss saw it. Dad's friends refuse to talk to him, and his boss wants to see him first thing Monday morning, and I'm assuming it is to fire him because Dad's job involves public relations. And this is bad for their image. Now, they are blowing up my phone with apologies and begging me to delete everything. My dad is blaming Kay for all of this, and he's considering divorcing her in the hope to save his reputation. On another note, we accepted Jay's aunt's offer to move in with her, and we are thinking to make the move to Aunt City permanent because honestly, I'm in love with this place, and we may even get better paying jobs here. Anyways, tonight we are going to have a small party to celebrate my dad's life being ruined. NTA, your wedding should be one of your happiest days of your life. Your father made his choice. You don't always need to be the bigger person anyway, but they're not even really asking you to do that. They're asking you to be a pushover and let your father and his wife and her child get their way. That's not being the bigger person. You're so much better off without it. OP, I hope you have a beautiful wedding, stress-free, and embrace your new family. Edit. For your update. OP, I really hope you stay safe. I'm so sorry this has been such a source of stress and hurt for you in what should be a happy time. I'm proud of you for taking the steps needed to make sure you and your grandparents are safe. There is better advice in this thread for how to handle this legally, but I just wanted to add that my best wishes are with you. Hang in there and be safe. NTA. Your dad, unfortunately, is an enabler of abuse, and the only way to deal with enablers is to set clear boundaries and enforce them, which is what you did. If you do decide to get back in contact with your dad in the future, keep setting clear boundaries. Also, always assume that he's going to try to sneak the stepmom and stepsister along for any in-person meetings. Arrange those so you can leave or kick him out if it happens. If he doesn't bring them, great. But if he does, you don't have to put up with it. If your dad already knows where and when the wedding will be, you might also want to ask some friends or family to play bouncer at your wedding. That way, if he does show up with your stepmom and stepsister, he can be escorted out without you having to worry about it. Stay tuned for more stories with our girl relationships.